Hello, everybody. It's Friday. Thank God. Going to be starting my show. Oh, we're ready to go. Hello and welcome to Friday. Thank you for tuning in today. You are listening to the Financial Chick Show, and I am the Financial Chick. My name is Denise Nostrom, and I am the owner and founder of Diversified Financial Solutions, a full-service independent financial planning firm. My office is located in Medford, and basically what I do is try to help you take the mystery out of money and investments and give you some helpful hints to reach your goals, whether they be goals for education, for your children, for retirement, or whatever the case may be. So it's been an interesting week, just like I've been saying the past couple of weeks. It has just been a frenzy. It's been super, super busy. People are very much into doing a lot of things. I mean, this week we've had people that, opening up brokerage accounts, wanting to buy stocks of all different sorts, to people on the other side saying, I'm out, just get me out of the entire accounts. I just want to go all to money market or a big position to money market. And one person wanted to outright take money all out of their IRA and just said, listen, that's probably not the best idea. We can, reduce your risk or whatever if you're kind of nervous of what the market's going to do. But taking it all out and getting the taxes and everything in 1 year, it's not a good idea. Maybe losing your Enhanced Star or your Medicare. So there's a lot of different things that would kind of go in with that. And, the confusion this week, do we mask? Do we not mask? Do we mask indoors? Do we mask outdoors? I don't even know. I mean, the bottom line is that the week has just been just a riddling of craziness. And I know that we don't like uncertainty. The market doesn't like uncertainty. Market's done pretty good this week. Again, a little bit of a ride. We're definitely seeing that ride. The biggest ride we saw this week was Bitcoin, where Bitcoin went down a big amount. I know I dedicated my show last week was to Bitcoin, so I'm not going to talk too much about it this week. But I think the lesson learned this week was that that's a lot of risk. The Bitcoin can, not the Bitcoin, but Bitcoin can actually vary quite drastically. I mean, it was up at a high close to 60,000, went down to 30, went back to 47. And it's really interesting is the people that talk to me, they tend to be more conservative and say, I'm in CDs and I like conservative, but I want to buy Bitcoin. So just know the lesson learned this week that it is a ride. And if you're not ready for that ride, just don't get on because it's going to make you sick. So the theme this week is we're going to control the things that we can control. And again, as we know, a lot of stuff we can't control. But I'm going to talk this week about how long to keep financial records. Now, this might sound like a snooze fest, but honestly, a lot of people that I speak to and a lot of clients, they are very interested and have questions about this all the time because especially it's spring, it's a great time for spring cleaning, right? So let's get into it. So, you want to know how long to keep those financial records, bank statements, records. You don't want to have the clutter, but you're not sure. You don't want to get rid of it. What's most important? What if errors happen? What if I get rid of it? How do I get that document back? What should you save? What should you shred? What could you actually throw out in the garbage pail? So here's a few things that we can talk about today. So there are financial documents that you're going to need to keep forever, just in case they are needed. There are important documents that are varied for reasons for why you may need them, and some you may really need to keep at all. But the bottom line is that good record keeping, regardless of usage, is still the most important thing to do. It's also important to let your loved ones know where you keep these documents in case you are incapacitated or precede them in death. So let's first talk about those forever documents that you need to keep. So the first, of course, is birth certificates or adoption paperwork. This is usually needed when you go for a job or you're enrolling in school, obtaining a driver's license, benefits, insurance, additions, just really anything. I mean, your birth certificate, marriage, death, a lot of different things. So this is a document that you're just going to retain and know where it is and have a good copy. And if you don't have it, really make sure you get out there and find out how you can get a copy of it, because it's something that's really important. The next thing would be death certificates. This is usually needed for closings on homes, canceling or transferring accounts, to fulfill life insurance policies, pensions or death benefits, whatever may happen upon someone's demise. You're going to need to have that death certificate. And sometimes things may surface a couple of years down the line, so you never really want to get rid of it. Just take it and put it in a file and make sure you retain it. Marriage certificates. When you get married, you're going to need it for the Social Security Administration to possibly change your status or change your name. When you go for the driver's license, your name changes, mortgage, loans, life insurance, health insurance, the list goes on there. The marriage certificate is a pretty important thing, and again, keeping it in a place that you know where it is. If you do refinances, maybe you change your name. I've had the situation where I use my maiden name for business, but I use my married name for everything else. So sometimes there's a bit of a situation there. So when I go for like a refinance or I do something, I need to find that document and show them that, what my married name really is. Wills. That's kind of, left unsaid, right? I mean, that's an important thing. It's important upon death, for designations of property, rights, what the deceased person really wants. Keeping the record also assists when there is errors within the filing system at a registrar, such as like a county clerk, or even lack of filing altogether. So retaining the will and keeping that in a good, safe place is very important. This is another big one, and a lot of people don't realize this. Records of paid off mortgages on housing, land, and other property. Deeds of trust, promissory notes, and satisfaction notes could become extremely important documents, especially in the event of clerical errors from either the mortgage lending office, attorney's office, or county registrar's office during the transfer or sale of a home or property. So we may get a little lackadaisical and, I paid off the mortgage. Make sure you get that document from the county that it is paid off, because when you sell that house and they go, well, you didn't pay that mortgage off, you don't want to be in that situation, especially if you have a quick sale like what's happening right now. You want to be able to have those documents and just move it along pretty quickly. IRA contribution statements for non-deductible contributions to prove that you paid taxes. This is a very, very important one. A lot of times, people want to put money into IRAs. They may have a 401k at work, but they're putting money in the IRA. Now, it's not going to be deductible to them. So what happens is when you put into an IRA, all money you take out from an IRA will be taxable. If you put something in non-deductible, you have to make sure that, I think it's Form 8606, that you need to have this filed with your tax return and have those contributions. So when you do take out said money, you don't pay taxes again. We don't like paying taxes once, right? We don't want to have to pay taxes twice on something that we don't have to. Very, very important. So, these documents are extremely important. You want to make sure that you retain them. Just take a file. I'll talk a little bit about some solutions about what you can do to make life easier for yourself. But these are the documents that you want to keep in perpetuity forever. Financial records to keep for things that are active. So if you have active contracts, loans, or other financial obligations, contributions that are active, you want to keep those records indefinitely. So examples of this are insurance documents, any type of contracts that you have, retirement plan contributions, equity and stock records, brokerage statements, home improvement records, very, very important, especially with cost basis. The Biden administration is looking to come out with no step up in basis, especially for housing. This is going to be important. If you do any improvements on that home, you want to be able to account for that and prove that. So to increase that cost basis so you don't have to pay a lot of tax. Again, as you can probably tell, just like all of you, I don't like to pay tax, and I don't like my clients to have to pay tax, or any of you to have to pay tax. Another thing that you want to keep are property tax records, ongoing debt repayments, records for items associated with active warranties for things that you have. Maybe you put in warranty on your refrigerator or your car. No, I'm not talking about those calls that they have. Well, maybe it is that too, but record for items that have not exceeded their return dates. So these are documents just to keep in case they're needed at any time. You never know where there could be issues several years from now, and you may need these documents. So there have been instances where property issues weren't discovered until decades later. So it's important to keep these documents indefinitely. So we're going to talk a little bit about how long to keep tax returns and documents. That's a big one too. I always get that question for how long that we need to keep those things. But you are listening to The Financial Chick, and this is The Financial Chick Show, and I am Denise Nostrom. The company is Diversified Financial Solutions. I am located in Medford, and I am here to help you with all of your financial issues and concerns. So stick around after the break, and we're going to talk more about those documents and also a way to protect yourself from those bad people with a shredding event. And I'll give you all information after the commercial break. So we're on a commercial break now, and we are ready to rumble in a few minutes. I see a lot of you people aren't online. Everybody's busy. It's a beautiful day, right? Welcome back. Thanks for coming back after the commercial break. You are listening to The Financial Chick Show, and I am The Financial Chick. My name is Denise Nostrom, and the company is Diversified Financial Solutions, a comprehensive financial advisory firm. We're here to help you find solutions when you feel there are none. So today we're talking about how long to keep financial records. So we talked about a few things, but we are now up to tax returns and documents. So for certain records, after 7 years, it's no longer necessary to keep those items, especially for things like debts that are paid off. That's because usually 7 years is the allowable time for those items to be challenged. You can keep them longer, obviously, if you choose to, but that's just basically the rule of thumb. So as far as tax returns, basically you want to keep those for at least 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Tax returns, tax-related records, alimony payments. So here's basically the guidelines. So tax refunds or credits, you want to keep those records from 3 years from the date you filed your original return, or 2 years from the date that you paid your tax, whichever's later if you file a claim for credit or refund after you file for your return. Loss claims, if you need to keep records for 7 years if you file a claim for a loss from worthless securities or bad debt deductions. So actually, let me go back. So really your tax returns you want to keep for at least 7 years. I think that's kind of a safe number. You can keep it for a lesser period of time or more. I actually keep my tax records for a much longer period of time just because I'm a little bit crazy like that. But so for loss claims for like worthless securities or things like that, or bad debt deductions, if you have unreported income, you want to keep those records for 6 years. If you do not report income that you should report, and it's more than 25% of the gross income shown on your return. If you happen to not file a tax return, you want to keep those records indefinitely. So what I mean is that, obviously you're not filing a return, but you're going to get tax documentations, but you may not need to file a return. It's still a very good idea to keep those documents just in case it comes back where, well, here's a great example. With the pandemic, people that filed tax returns, even if they felt they really didn't have to or didn't want to, did get the stimulus. If you did not have filed your tax return, you then did not get the stimulus payment because you weren't in the system. So sometimes, we try to avoid things like, oh, I don't want to, it's a pain in the neck, I don't want to do a tax return. But sometimes it behooves you to do that because certain things happen that you may miss out on if you didn't file the tax return. Fraudulent reports, you should keep those records indefinitely if you file a fraudulent return report. And employment tax records, you want to keep employment tax records for at least 4 years after the date the tax becomes due or is paid, whichever is later. So with taxes, it's a little bit funky in terms, but I would say a good rule of thumb would be a 7-year period to keep those tax returns. So financial records, which is my lane, you want to keep at least for 3 years. There's some documents that you keep for a short amount of time, but they're still considered pertinent to keep for a period of time. So many of these documents should be kept for 3 years to provide proof of payment, resolve, or prior claim service. So one of which is canceled insurance policies. Sometimes we decide we don't want them anymore, but you want to retain those. Records of property sales, like for example, investments or real estate, you want to keep that for at least 3 years. Paid medical bills, you want to keep those in case anything ever comes back where they say you didn't pay it or whatever the case may be. Any documentation that you need for capital gains tax or to support deductions on your tax return, you want to retain those. So keep a folder, throw it all in there, keep everything together. So one of the other big things that people ask about is bank statements. So bank statements basically show a record of all your financial transactions. You want to keep them at least for a year. So you always want to go back at least 1 year to look at whatever it is that you have. Worst case with the digital world, electronic world that we have, for the most part, most companies will have your statements, that you can get online. They archive them and they have them. I just know myself in my financial practice, especially with statements and stuff like that. I know certain companies, they archive, but they go to a certain year. And sometimes we have a death of a client or something happens where we have to go way back for a cost basis or something like that. So I've saved my butt by keeping things much longer than I should, but it's helped me to do that. But there are documents that are typically more common, occurring documents that you may have that you may need to dispute or prove payments or resolve. So other documents that you should also keep are canceled checks, paycheck records, and bill payment records. Again, about a year. If any of these documents are required for tax deductions, you're going to need to keep them longer. So that would kind of fall under the income tax situation. But maybe you're a young kid or whatever, a young adult with first job, you probably could keep your bank records for about a year. So, and like I said before, most companies now offer electronic payment records, on-bill payment services, and online banking. So if you utilize those services and save documents with sensitive data, it's usually something that you can retain or you can, get that information if needed. So business records. So I'll just kind of go over this quickly. If you have a business, here are some guidelines for that. Income taxes, typically they say 6 years, 7 years if there are any deductions for debt loss or bad checks. Employee payments or tax records, 4 years after said taxes have been paid or to be paid. Workers' compensation records should be kept for 10 years, so that's a bit of a longer period of time. Business operational costs and expenses. Most of these expenses are considered supported documentation for tax purposes, so then that would fall again under that 3-year guideline. Business bank statements, they suggest 7 years for that. So it's a good idea to keep a detailed yearly record to minimize paperwork associated with monthly statements. And you may keep a QuickBooks or something like that. So you may have a bunch of that stuff there. So let's kind of, the key IRS points on financial record keeping. So for both businesses and individuals, they say to keep records, they say for 6 years. 6 years if you do not report, or if you underreport income for 25%. You didn't file a tax return, keep records indefinitely. If you were a victim of fraud, again, you want to keep those records for at least 6-7 years, in case something comes back after the settlement or whatever the case may be. So, people say, well, where should I keep these documents? Where should you keep the financial records? Some people just simply keep it in a file folder, or, all over the place is usually what I hear. So one thing that we do in our office, we have we call it the SAFE Project. And we have a company that we work with that actually has all of the folders labeled by whether it's healthcare, prescriptions, wills and trusts, investments. It's something that we can offer through our office. Everything is pre-packaged, pre-done. All you need to do is gather all your information, throw it in these file folders. We can even offer to you a waterproof and fireproof safe. So give our office a call if this is something that's an interest to you, 631-758-8691. We can get you organized. Again, spring cleaning, it's that time of the year. It's so encouraging to have your documents all together. So many times I have people, like whether it be a divorce or they're selling their house and they're scrambling for all these documentations. And some of my clients, I retain some of their documents so I can help them. But what's better than to have everything in one place? So the job and the project's a little bit, it's a project, it's a job, when you first do it. But if you get all your documents together and you know where everything is, you just feel much better about it. And we have what's these called ICE keys. It's called in case of emergency. Let's say you travel overseas and you need your power of attorney, or you, God forbid, land in a hospital overseas and they need to know what prescriptions that you're on. When you travel, you can use this key, which would have everything downloaded on it, and you could just give that to anybody. That's a big help to know what your situation is. So we're here, again, as the Financial Chick, the company's Diversified Financial Solutions. We're here to help you make your life easier. So please contact our office or visit financialchickshow.com. This week, we're going to put all of this information on our website so you can see and read all this information, because I spoke about it pretty quickly. Believe it or not, we're coming to the end of the show. It goes so darn fast, doesn't it? But I wanted to tell you one thing about safety. Town of Brookhaven resident, if you are a Town of Brookhaven resident, they have a recycling schedule. So this Saturday, May 22nd, Sachem Public Library, located at 150 Holbrook Road in Holbrook, from 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. You can go there and get your e-waste, paper, and drugs recycled. So you can get rid of that paperwork you don't need. If you listen to the show today, you know what you don't need, or what you don't, what you can keep and what you don't need. But there's many other, and I will talk about this again, there's a lot of other dates that you can have. So we're done. The show's over. But listen, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather. And I can't wait to be with you next Friday, which is actually going to be the long weekend, Memorial Day weekend. So have a great week, everybody. See you next Friday. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm out. That's it. It's over. Have a great night and weekend. We'll see you soon.